Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Totalitarian Tuesday. That's right. This is it.
I thought you'd ring your bell.
Totalitarian Tuesday.
He's clicking the buttons.
I'm going to hit it again just because. Totalitarian Tuesday.
Say it with me now.
Yeah, here we are. Everyone's too loud. Sorry, Outlaw. We will try to calm it down.
Settle down, class.
For you.
Settle down.
I forgot.
Billy, Outlaw, everyone, settle down. Jay Creature, put your pants back on.
Betty Lou, Johnny Preps, Hunter, and Coffee First Then Speak, Prepper Book Club, Jay Creature, Greenleaf, the Prepping Mantis, Outlaw Jackson. The list goes on. Vision Preparedness, my brother from another mother. So tonight, I want to talk a little bit about conspiracy theories, Livingston man.
You mean spoiler alerts?
Isn't that so true? Isn't that what they've become? Is spoiler alerts, right? They really are. They're spoiler alerts. We've had a lot of conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Interesting stuff.
Not only true, but stuff people saw right off the bat. They were like, no way, that's BS. Yep. And they were like, how dare you? Yeah, you know what? Exactly. And we're going to punish you now. And we're going to take away your social media.
That's it. All of it.
We're going to discriminate against people based on like a certain medical record. And then 2 years later, they're like, yeah, by the way.
Yeah, never mind about all that, right? Never mind about
forgive
all that.
And forget.
Stray Kitten, Jeep Girl, Naughty Heathen, Scotty Hummer, Keystone Preparedness, William K's, Lori Q in the house. What's happening, everybody? I hope everybody's having
many people in here. It's
fantastic Totalitarian Tuesday. Because, man, it feels like the big takeover is coming, doesn't it, guys? I mean, it really, to me, it does. It feels like the big takeover is coming. And, how did Orwell say it? The boot of the government on your neck, right?
Well, a boot stamping on a human face forever. It's pretty.
There it is. I really feel that is in the works. Shorty, what's happening? Livingston, man, could you do me a favor? Could you roll that beautiful bean footage? Sharpened up my knife hands for this. It's Totalitarian Tuesday, Livingston, man. And I really feel...
It's about bringing the hammer down.
Like, everything that we've talked about for the past couple of years, one by one, they've all been checked off as fact. Really grinding my gears today. It really got under my skin. And... What are your thoughts, Livingston, man? What are your thoughts? Everything we've talked about, from Mr. 19, the arm ticket, everything. The vacuum of money that is the war in Ukraine right now, right? We have not declared war in a very, very long time. But we're funneling money over there like it's going out of style. And we know it's not sustainable.
It draws a clear comparison to like the whole the Vietnam situation metaphorically.
Okay.
The Afghanistan situation, metaphorically. when we kind of sort of baited, when Russia decided they were going to invade Afghanistan back in the 80s,
Yeah.
the United States kind of stated goal was to not really try and stop them, but to resist them, to bleed them dry and make them go bankrupt.
Sounds familiar.
Now, we're not sending manpower over there yet. Now, we keep hearing this. It's like, nope. And then you like read the news next morning, like, we got boots on the ground in that place. And that's the way that stuff works. So they're selling us a product here. Whatever this agenda is, they got to sell it. So what they do is you do quiet little rollouts like Mr. 19 and this and that thing. And they gauge the public
reaction.
And they see what people will do and how much they'll take. And then they roll with it. And next thing you know, it's bigger and badder and worse next time, but you've been there before, so you just take it without even realizing it. It's marketing, really, more than anything else.
Yeah, they're selling it to you.
And it appeals to base instincts. These people are psychologists above all else.
Yeah.
And the war is in here, in your head, and for it, the hearts and minds.
Yeah, all the time.
But in the most like sinister way possible.
And they will definitely play at everybody's heartstrings. I had a conversation with my son the other day about, he said, why would they bomb, a hospital, Dad? Why would they do that?
Make you mad.
Well, the problem is that hospital has long been abandoned. They've pulled everybody out of there. It's not safe to keep people in that war zone. So nobody's there. And then the opposition comes and sets up a SAM site on the roof or right outside the front door, or they're using it as a forward operating base. So you're like, how could these guys possibly bomb a hospital? Well, that's why. Because it's loaded with opposition fighters, or they're in the neighborhood and it catches a stray round. It's war. It's war. If you are in a war zone, you take cover and then you get out, right? You don't hang around and, poke your head up out of the gopher hole to see what's going on every day.
Unless you're under the flag of the Red Cross, you're not safe. Like you can be like, this was a hospital, and that's fine.
And those guys aren't even safe over there.
But you also can't hide, SAM missiles underneath the Red Cross. Like that's a war crime.
Yeah.
So this Eastern warfare these guys are fighting is something we're not used to. Like especially the hamburger, the meat grinder. This
is where it's at now.
Unbelievable. Hundreds of thousands of people have died already.
So
this is
folks in the chat, what are some of the conspiracy theories we've come up to go with along with this thing that's going on over there? What are some of I want to hear from the folks in the chat. What are the conspiracy theories about this whole thing? I've heard everything from personally, from, the biolabs over there, to the money laundering. This is all a big, they got to destroy all the evidence of all that.
The big guy in Junior.
Yeah. All the evidence has got to get washed away. I've heard a lot of conspiracies about why this is happening. And I also know some facts about why it, started in the first place. It's a long drawn out story, a whole different thing for a different live stream. But, see, Prepper Book Club, biolabs and money laundering. Yep. That's those are the common ones. Vision says the payoff for Hunter's deeds.
There was a lot of the talk about Hunter's laptop.
Yeah.
The whole Twitter. How far back conspiracy theory wise you want to go? Like, what about Edward Snowden and all his revelations that were totally true?
Yeah.
And again,
that was conspiracy theory too, guys. Right? The government's not spying on us, Livingston, man. They're not just watching this live stream.
Just because they totally can doesn't mean that they would. I mean,
they totally are. They totally are. And we know that they are.
But these are all little tests. They roll them out like a new prototype, and they gauge public opinion, and they see what will people stand for and what won't they. And unfortunately, folks, especially Americans, it's appalling, really, what we do indeed find ourselves standing for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike always says, what you allow is what will continue.
Correct.
So what has continued by default is then what we have allowed.
Yeah. And the train just keeps rolling, right? Because we're all too busy. We're too busy.
Gotta go to work.
Gotta go to work. Gotta pay the bills.
Go to work.
Gotta keep the food in the house.
Bills. Go to work.
It's a terrible, terrible cycle. At some point, I feel like secessio plebis is in order, where everybody just stops doing what they're doing. basically a nationwide strike of the people for them to get the message. I mean, that's the last honest, peaceful way that you could send a message and not be any violence and perhaps get massive change. But as a people, we would have to come up with a plan and a list of what we need from them.
The last time somebody tried to do this,
it.
bless their hearts, was when Antifa set up that Chaz bullshit.
Oh yeah, but this isn't like that. This is just everybody just stay home. Just stay home for as long as it takes. No work, no nothing.
Now, if you have a prepper mentality, this is possible.
Absolutely.
This? But now I can hear them all out there in the comments. Is that what I prepped for?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Could be.
I mean, could it?
Prepper Book Club says 15-minute cities are the new concentration camps. And that's kind of the road we're going down here tonight with the conspiracy theory stuff, right?
I'll give you, listen, everybody's big mad about these 15-minute cities. But did you get, I don't know, what was it last week? We were explaining to me about what a 15-minute city sounded like. What you guys are hearing is like, you're like locked in your district, like this is some Hunger Games bullshit.
Yeah, basically. That's the brush that they're painting it with, Livingston, man. That's how it looks on the surface.
Now, I've often said that the ideas are sound and that the message is like all fouled up. Yes. This is another one where they've fouled up this message. 15-minute cities are not supposed to be, being very the operative word, what we are being presented with.
Yeah.
Okay, they're supposed to mean that you can get anywhere you need. You need healthcare, you need groceries, you need this, you need that. All of your basic necessities are within a 15-minute walk or bicycle ride.
Correct.
It's not the idea, of course, can be used for bad, sure, but the idea is to make everyone's life simpler and easier with less pollution and impact on the environment, and to foster a sense of neighborhood and community.
Right. That's what they're planning on doing. It doesn't mean it's going to work out that way.
You were trying to explain it to me the other night.
I've seen those Agenda 2030 maps. It's absolutely insane.
I would love a 900 square foot apartment. Listen, let's be honest with ourselves. We all got too much crap.
Yeah. James Carroll, welcome from Copake, New York. Beautiful place out there. Love the lake.
Imagine you only got 900 square feet to vacuum. I mean, and you got little robots that do it for you, so who cares?
But the question is, are the people in the community, they're only going to live and work, and your whole life is going to be spent in this little tiny bubble that they don't ever want you to leave. It's very similar
Little Italy, to Chinatown,
to China,
Little Poland, any neighborhood in New York City. It's a thing already.
Yes, it is a thing already. And they're expanding on it, and they want to push the populations of the rural areas into these places. And the carbon tax, the carbon footprint, all of these carbon initiatives are the driving force behind pushing you out of the countryside and into their little box that is a 15-minute city.
Now, that being said, I would resist that. I see.
But they're doing it slow.
Well, it's like reverse Khmer Rouge stuff, where they took they emptied the cities and just kicked everybody out. And you're like farmers now. Yep. And if you couldn't do it, they killed you with a shovel because it was cheaper.
You died trying.
So here's the opposite. We're going to take all the country people and put them in the city.
Yeah, and give you everything you've ever wanted right there in front of you, right?
Don't got me sold on anything. My thing is, what I want is legitimate, when it's messaging. And when I'm like, well, what's the big deal with these 15-minute cities? And Mike is, it's explained to me that they want to put basic goods and essential services within easy reach of you conveniently. And I'm like,
it's true. But everything
do better.
So once you're in there, right, and they start to implement all of these,
of course, then
track and tracing systems for everybody and everything,
the carrot is replaced
and you just
with the
wave
stick.
your hand in front of your door and you're in there. It's
the carrot is phased out.
It's a slippery slope, and I don't want to go down it, man. I don't want to go down it. I will resist. I feel that so everybody's thing right now is the cell phone, right? Everybody's stuck on this. You're stuck on the cell phone, and I think they're going to find something else for us to get stuck to, and I believe it's going to be these 15-minute cities. They're going to be so attractive. It's going to be like living inside a shopping mall. Only there's cameras on you everywhere you go, everything you do. You thought crime. I mean, we're talking RoboCop stuff here, Livingston, man. That's the conspiracy theory that goes along with this. And I could see it happening.
A buddy of mine knows a guy, of course. Right? Now, but whatever. Now, if you believe me, fine. I know it. A buddy of mine knows a guy, sort of a higher up guy at the actual Microsoft headquarters in Seattle.
Okay.
And what you just said,
Josh, what's happening, my brother? How are you?
What you just said is like that. They've made this building, this complex, so that you kind of don't have to leave. You work there, but there's
no reason to leave.
No, everything is fine.
Yeah,
and
everything is here for you.
And so I would assume that given who's involved, Microsoft and big Silicon Valley type stuff, that actually this model is the utopian ideal of this 15-minute city. But of course,
technologically advanced to the nines, bro.
Now, just like anything else, is that of course it has the potential to be used for the darkest evil.
Absolutely.
Now,
the road to hell is paved with the
good
best
intentions.
of intentions.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So it depends on what is your idea really of the future, especially for humans in general.
Yeah.
Because you have to assume that most people are going to take the deal.
Absolutely.
So you're still left in the fringe minority that we all are. Let's give it up for us. Regardless of your stance on these things, though, if implemented, they're going to become normal.
Yeah, they're going to try to normalize this.
You're like a bunch of Ewoks out in the woods resisting the technology.
If you want to see the future, look no further than your television programming.
Star Trek don't sound so bad.
This is what they're pushing us into.
Gosh, hate that. Replicators, that sucks.
It's like, man, that taco was so good. I wish I had another. New taco.
What?
Boom. Oh, man. It's like a microwave, only faster.
And when you just go to the doctor, they spray you with lasers and it's all good. Everything's fine.
Well, we're not quite there yet, but...
because of the military-industrial complex, of course. Not him again.
Yeah, it's them. We all gonna war Tuesday. Somebody just said that they absolutely loved... the Livingston man's drone footage today. Where was it? Teresa Buchanan says, love the drone footage.
Thank you. Yeah. I probably shouldn't say it, but I will anyway, because they can't prove it, except that, whatever. If they were going to do something about it, they would have. I routinely break the FAA
regulations.
Suggestions.
Shit happens.
They're like, you can't go this high. I go higher than that. True rebel, okay.
There he is.
They can't contain me.
Yeah, every submariner is laughing at the 900 square foot. Sign them up. I guarantee it.
On a side note, if you are a submariner, you're actually the future of space travel. Air Force is air. There's no air in space. Air Force don't work.
Yeah. Ms. T says depopulation is what they want. I am a firm believer in that. And the conspiracy theories, man, they just keep coming true.
Well, the whole lab leak thing, some of this stuff is so obvious. And another glaring thing that I see happening in geopolitics is world leaders and big, powerful people, more or less, I can't decide if they are completely oblivious or they are physically laughing in my face, ha, 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 you can't do nothing. As they implement their goals and do all the foul stuff that we didn't vote for them to do, and they just go ahead and do it with impunity. Because
they dare you to do something about it.
Well, they showed you what happens if you go ahead and show up at the Capitol and air your grievances. They'll show you how law enforcement works. They'll track you to the ends of the earth.
Yep. Well, we're seeing that too.
A dude bombed the World Trade Center. It took him 28 years to find him.
Mad Mama says, you're a Russian bot. You can do what you want. That's right.
I'm not a part of their system.
He is his own system. Chaos Prepper, welcome to Totalitarian Tuesday. And tonight, we're on the conspiracy theory kick tonight. And how they've all been coming true. So, to the chat, hit me with a conspiracy theory that us folks in the preparedness realm have...
maybe heard of.
Have already come true. Let's see. Hunter says, here's a conspiracy theory for you. They drained the lakes of fresh water to advance their global warming agenda. Well, there's still plenty of freshwater lakes, so I'm not buying that one just yet. Chris C says they have robot brothels in Italy.
I believe that one. That's that didn't even need to be debunked. Like, I know that's true.
That's a tough one. I
don't think they'll tax my farts. Okay.
They might.
Now,
your carbon footprint is big.
I'll present a scenario where actually, they can do this. All right. So you're fed like a certain, like your human kibble, your people kibble, whatever it is.
Yeah, the bugs. The Soylent Green.
You're in your pod and you're eating the bugs. Okay. And then they're going to know if your emissions like change. Like, I've been in like jail, and certainly people who have been in the military know that when you're all in a room, 100 people in a room, and you're all eating the same stuff, everybody's poops and farts be smelling exactly the same with the same, and they're going to be able to test it, and they're going to know, was you eating contraband food? Did you find some black market Doritos? Because they're going to sensors that be smelling. This some bitch been eating Doritos.
Prepper Book Club says your protein paste.
It's Jay Creature. It's Dance Dance Revolution, but like, European rated.
Yep. Livingston Man is a love bot, ladies.
Not really. I'm actually
a conspiracy theory that the chemical contamination in Ohio is unhealthy. It's crazy that they say stuff like that, because that's like real deal, man. It happened. It's there. And they're like, everything's fine. I'll give me a glass of that water. You know that water didn't come from there.
Of course not. Like, they would risk members of Congress drinking some contaminated groundwater unless those guys were like, I'd get down like that.
Mr. B Local says, did Bill Gates just purchase Palestine, Ohio for $50? It could be. That's something that they do. They run places into the ground, and then they'll buy them up for pennies on the dollar.
Well, sure. Whatever the return on investment is, I don't really understand, because fine, whatever. These people got money to burn, obviously. Now, I read that was it Bill Gates or somebody bought a big controlling stock in Heineken?
Yeah, somebody did.
So it already, listen, I will drink
Heineken. Put it in your beer, man. They're going to put it in your beer.
I used to drink Heineken from time to time. And I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Then why? Because in 5 years, it can be like, by the way, you like shitty Thank you.
Fruits and vegetables and things like that. They're starting to genetically modify things so much that they're putting all kinds of crap in the foods. Really start looking at your labels on everything you buy, because you're going to see that a lot of things have genetically modified ingredients in them anymore.
At this point, you might want to buy the Chinese imports.
Yeah. There was something today, I can't remember what it was. It's a common additive in most foods here. I think it was sodium bicarbonate or something like that.
If I'm not
and
wrong.
They just banned it in China and Italy and all these other countries, but they keep it flowing here.
Well, isn't sodium I must be wrong. Sodium bicarbonate is baking soda, isn't it?
I think so. Something like that.
Beer is plant-based. Beer is actually an ancient recipe. It was a way to preserve the crop throughout the winter. Beer is actually food. It has protein. And in some cases, fat. Beer is not water, although it is a diuretic.
Beer is essential.
1 beer in, 2 beers out is the rule. So for hydration, no, but beer is technically food, and the heavier it is, say like you get into like Guinness and stuff like this, that's a meal in a can. That was the original purpose of beer. Also, by the fermentation and boiling process, you could assure that it was purified.
Wow, killed everything.
A big part of history, ladies and gentlemen, is if you imagine that you couldn't trust the water. They didn't understand about germs, boiling, purification, none of it. Everything was from God or Mother Nature or whatever, but they didn't get it. So when they could distill alcohol and make beer, wine, and every other thing that man has done.
They had something safe to drink.
So history in a nutshell is like everybody you ever heard of staggering around hammered. Hammered. Okay?
Mr. B Local says it a steak at the end of every bottle.
Hammered. Okay, Genghis Khan, hammered. Napoleon, hammered. George Washington, hammered. Founding fathers in general, hammered, dude. There's a reason that like Sam Adams was like the brewer. Like he was literally like the bartender. You know what? Damn the British anyway. And they're like, give me another one. Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna send a letter to the king.
We're gonna tell him how we really feel.
I'm gonna write this down, TJ. I'm gonna tell you what. Hammered. Okay.
Greenleaf says that that is baking soda. Maybe it's sodium benzonate. There was some
potassium benzoate,
maybe something like that, man. There was something that they pulled out.
I'm sorry to hear that. Lots of stuff is illegal in like every other country except America. They're like, nah, feed them the chemicals.
GMOs. I remember we sent a load
full
of
synthetic. We run off synthetics.
GMO corn to China, and they like dumped it on the dock and burned it right there. Make sure it wouldn't go anywhere.
Tank Houston, what's good, homie? Miss you, bro.
Oh, it's bryomated vegetable oil.
Oh, that.
There it is. There it is.
It's got bromine in it.
Yep. It's delicious.
Wrap your ass around that.
It's delicious.
Ladies and gentlemen, the thing being is America plays by its own set of rules. And for better or worse, we enjoy a lot of freedoms here.
Yeah.
But on the bad side of that, we are incredibly harmful to our own population in a way that can be taken as like on purpose. Like
absolutely. Yeah, they're doing this because it's
for
the cheaper
money
route.
and it's
because they can only get fined X amount of dollars a day, right? So they set these rules. Tank Houston, what's happening, my brother? How are you? Welcome. Totalitarian Tuesday.
Maybe if you're a tradesman, then you'll understand. Like, it's the code. It's the code.
Yeah, but your code sucks.
Code is a bare minimum.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if you only meet code, the other way to look at that is that you met the barest minimum requirements. You got a C.
Yeah, well, that's like
so this is what
military grade, right? The lowest bidder. Ha! There it is.
Everything in America, especially, not only you got to take it with your 3 pounds of sugar, but like half the shaker of salt, because what the large print giveth, the fine print taketh away.
Amen. Old Mutt says, with all the chemicals you eat, you will be preserved by the time you die.
That's why people
Allegedly.
live forever. I mean, that's potassium benzoate. We got to kill these people faster.
It's all the microplastics they've been feeding us. Now, back to the maps. Greenleaf had mentioned the maps earlier, the Agenda 2030 maps, right? So there's a lot of land in the U.S. that they say will be uninhabited by people, right?
There already is. I mean, define that.
But it's even more. That's when you're in your 15-minute cities, and there's some human activity allowed in certain small areas, and other areas you just don't go. You're not allowed to go there. Now, I was brought up with the whole, this land is my land, this land is your land, right?
From the Redwood Forest to the New York Islands.
Yeah, man. There goes the monetization. It's done.
That's Woody Guthrie. I don't think Woody Guthrie would not approve.
From the grave, he's like, give me your monetization.
He wouldn't do that.
He does. Watch.
Woody wouldn't do that.
But YouTube would.
In his name.
Believe that.
Blaspheming in here. Don't you dare speak of the Lord. Prophet. The prophet of the Lord, Woody Guthrie.
Desert Goat says, yes, that's why I say it's a good thing to learn wilderness survival. Absolutely, my friend. We are all about survival, right? What's the number one rule of survival, Livingston, man?
Don't die.
Don't fucking die. If you're not dying, you're doing good. You're doing good. Tank said it. I'll go where I want. Exactly. And I think
he's one of those sovereign citizen people.
Tying it back into the whole 15-minute cities thing, right? So this is it. Vision preparedness, fantastic. Livingston, man, could you click that link right there? Perhaps we can bring this up and show the photo. Yes, okay. Yes. Right, there you go. Slide that over there. Let's see if we could find.
Okay, now I learned about these rules, so everybody, I'm going to instruct you how to do this. All right. First, we're going to remove these.
Oh, there we go.
Go like this.
There we go.
Now, please look at the upper left of this website. It is from the UN Sustainable Development Group. I am bound by law to say that when we show you these websites.
Okay, so there you go.
The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development speaks to the core mandate and values of the UN system, including promoting and encouraging respect for human rights for all. UN agencies, funds, and programs can broker relevant knowledge and technical assistance on sustainable development challenges, opportunities, and solutions. What word salad did I just read off the teleprompter? What did I even just say? What did I even just say? That was verbatim, folks.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig here and see if I can find some of these. This is a PDF, and I am freaking going there. Let's see.
Wow, look at these guys.
Oh, wow. Universal values. This stuff is scary. Scary.
Kill the poor. Kill
It's true. It's
the
true.
poor tonight.
It's scary, man. It's scary.
Kill the poor tonight. I'm a little sharp on that one string. Sorry. He's typing.
Yeah, let's see. My Mother Spark, have a great night, sister. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight. Let's see. Images. Bingo. Where are you? Oh. Bingo. This is exactly what we want right here.
Oh, Maine condemns it. Thanks, Maine, for sticking up for the rest of us little guys.
Maine's with us. Okay, I have found the map that I have spoken of, and I'm going to share that with you guys right now. This is from the Maine Wire, and this is the map in question. As you can see, the red is the core reserves and corridors, little to no human use. The yellow is the buffer zones, that is highly regulated use. And then you've got those little tiny dots inside of there. That is normal use. That's the green. And then the Indian reservations are still, you can see that they're even encroaching on those. They're no human use over top of these. This is scary stuff, guys. And this is what the 15-minute cities can do, right? You see that there's huge corridors. Most of them follow the rivers on this map. If you look at them closely, the Hudson River, there is no human use where we live right now. That whole corridor is just gone. I'll show it to you guys again. I don't think, I might be able to zoom in on that. See the whole Hudson River corridor here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor. That's gone. The Adirondack Park, there's no human use there. These yellow areas.
This is misleading. There's already no human use there by default. It's a protected park area.
Yeah, but people still live there. You can still live in the Adirondack Park, right? So there's a lot of this that has highly regulated use or no human use. And then you get in these little tiny dots here is where we live. And that's all that they're going to allow us. It boggles my mind, guys. It absolutely twists me up that this is where they're trying to take us. It's nuts. Absolutely crazy. And they say that this is conspiracy theory. No, this is sustainable development, Livingston, man. I didn't cross the corridor crossed me. You ain't kidding, Yardbirds. Some messed up stuff going on, guys. This is something that we have to push back against.
National parks and wildlife refuges?
This cannot be allowed. No, it's not just national parks and wildlife refuges. There's a lot more to those maps. I would encourage you guys to find that map, download it, and study it. It's scary.
I thought that in some places, I'm not sure that, I think the context of that map is being taken out of proportion, although I'm not coming out saying you're wrong.
Right.
But what they're showing you are interstate pathways and stuff where there's not a lot of...
Oh, there is a lot of life along the Hudson River. For generations, people have settled along the river. But not literally
the river itself, people literally don't live in it.
Correct. But to remove everybody from its banks and within miles of its banks is a whole nother story. And when you look at those maps, That is exactly what it looks like.
So is it maybe that the idea here, like the end game, is to eventually, like, they can't halt this climate change, and they know that we're not going to give up our evil ways and stop polluting the atmosphere. So they know they're going to eventually have to try to put us under some kind of umbrella.
Very true.
So to cluster us all underneath like domes, or like, first you get everybody together.
Right.
Then you put the dome over the city. And you let the wildlands like live as they were. Because I mean, why this map is killing me is because it shows a lot of places that are already like big national parks.
Yes.
And they're like, no human civilization there. It's like, well, there kind of isn't anyway. And for good reason.
But to the contrary, there is.
What if I told you people live where they do because it's the better place to live?
Yeah, well, that's how you feel, very, very personal, very personal. Here's the link right off of the screen of what we were looking at. The map's just a short scroll down, and when you click on it, it'll bring up that big giant map that you can zoom in on.
I mean, look, you got Acadia National Park. There's like the Adirondacks right there. Here's even,
this is
in
the
fact,
Adirondacks.
The Catskills got left out of your little map.
Yeah.
That's Phoenicia, like Woodstock, that X,
little
that star
dot right
sort
there.
of thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at the size of the corridor here, and where we literally live right now would be. Let's see, what color is that? That's that buffer zone with highly regulated use, right? Highly regulated use. And Vision preparedness. Thank you so much for the link, my brother. I appreciate you.
Also, can I point out this map is copywritten from 2004?
Yes, this is a very old one, but this was their old Agenda 2030 map. And
well, you got 7 years left on
that. Freaks me out.
I don't exactly know. I don't really know what it means. Like, here's a map that, like, you're like, it can be presented as, look at the red, look at this, you can't be there, do this. But I mean, what does this even mean? As required by the UN Convention. Look, they didn't even spell it right.
Biological diversity.
Look, we got spelling errors. Biological Diversity, Wildlands Project, UN and U.S. Man and Biosphere Programs, and World Heritage Program but if they really name it
and
this?
Attaining Sustainable Development. When you hear sustainable development, I want you guys to think of this map.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you see how they presented this paragraph as a single sentence?
Yeah.
This is what we need to stand up and fight against. This is what people are standing in the United. If this is real, whatever this is.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's so
if people are standing in the United Nations presenting this and writing paragraphs as sentences with no punctuation and spelling errors, they should be fired anyway.
So Outlaw Jackson said it. This is an Agenda 21 map pushed into Agenda 2030. Whatever they don't achieve in the first agenda, they will just push that parcel of it onto the next agenda and then add more things. And as they can push these different programs through, they do. And that's how they, wedge their way in there.
Riddle me this. We all want to, well, at least some of you, I'm sure of it, right? Make America great again. You want to make America great again?
Pay with cash. That's how you do it. Pay with cash. Pay with cash. Keep cash alive, folks.
Get me started.
Keep cash alive.
Don't get me started on that. Here's a piece of paper that's worth...
It's too easy. It's too easy to wave your device in front of the thing.
No.
It's too easy to use your debit card. It's too easy to use these methods. We have got to get back to spending cash if we want to keep it alive. We are the reason that everything will transfer, because they've programmed us to use these things for everything. You have to use cash while we can. That's the only way we're going to keep it, is if we bring it back in style. I know so many people that, I don't carry cash. And then the power goes out someplace and they go to walk in and they're like, cash only. And he's like, screw it, I'll have to go someplace else.
Fine.
It happens. But keep cash, guys. We have to keep cash alive. And if we don't, believe me, CBDC is on the menu. The more we don't use cash, the more they're going to push it. So if you want to keep it alive, cash only, man. Go to the bank, get the money out, pay for things with it, put it into circulation. because they would love for it to just sit there in those stacks in the banks and never have to do anything with it anyway.
You're talking to a guy that doesn't believe in money?
Well,
it's fake. Buy real shit with your fake money now.
Do it. I put up a thing on Instagram this afternoon about the gas masks from Mira Safety. If you want a CBRN rated gas mask and CBRN filter for a family of 4, it is going to cost you about $1,500. And that's only one filter for each mask.
No one is coming to repossess your gas mask.
Now, I don't know how the lifespan of the filter. That's the big question there. So how many filters do you have to get at $75, $80 a piece for a CBRN rated filter to get you through a radiological event or a chemical event or a nuclear event? That's something to take into consideration. And sizing, donning and doffing, learning all of these things. If you're going to get something like that, you have to know how to use it properly. Hands down. Otherwise, you're just going to cross-contaminate yourself and kill yourself anyway, and the gas mask was for nothing, right?
A gas mask is this, and mop gear is the same thing as having a first aid kit or a trauma kit. If you don't know how to use it, don't bother. Yeah, that's what's
you're
dressed in a heavy costume and you can't breathe, you can't see, and you're not even using it right, and you're going to die anyway.
The rest of the world is preparing for nuclear war. They are stocking the bunkers. They are stocking the fallout shelters. They're making sure everything's up to date, except here in the United States. They don't give a shit about us. And the best way to push back is take that tax return of yours and make sure you survive whatever it is that's coming.
Thanks, Mike. Now tax returns have been canceled.
That's a big says depends upon the toxic and the filters, depends upon how long they last. Fantastic. Well, we'll have to do some more research into the filters and make sure you get something that's going to see you through exposure to whatever could be. It's crazy. It's crazy. Jay Creature says, where's the Gulf War vets at? We lived in that crap. The mop gear. Oh, God bless you, man.
Look how he turned out. He turned out just fine. But what I meant by my "Make America Great Again" comment is that people want to turn America into this like industrial powerhouse where we're exporting and like owning stuff and doing a thing, living the good life. And but how in this day and age do you do that? Like you have 2 options. Is hell with that. Never mind 2 options. But the way I see it is privatize or government takeover of like farmland, like the entire like Midwest, that whole
it's all red.
And unless you're like actively resisting it, America is going to turn to like a sort of form of like socialism, like / communism, simply to feed its people's lifestyle. Everybody's like, look at them. The lengths they'll go through to keep everybody docile and complacent, and you would be shocked to know what lengths they will go to
keep you complacent. Yeah,
and the more and more complacent and docile you become, the more powerful the measures taken to keep you that way become.
You got to do it for yourself, guys.
At the end of the day, you have to question like, what is your idea of freedom and happiness? Because in America, we are all allowed the right to our pursuit of happiness. Yeah. Some people would gladly walk into that chamber, that pod, and eat the bugs and be fine. That's great.
Exactly. So
because you find yourself on the outside fringe of that, does that mean that no one should have that?
Sonia Riggs says, what's a bunker? What's a fallout shelter? Exactly. Other countries are educating their public, letting them know where they are, how to get to them, and what's in there.
Used to be code to have a fallout shelter.
Yeah. If you were building a house, you had to put one in your basement.
And most European and especially Israel countries, you have to have one.
Prepared Irishman says there's a minimum 2-week wait on Mira masks. Sonia Riggs, yes, they are going to be implementing some of the CBDC this year. It's supposed to be out, the framework for it in July. So I know that's going on. Karen says, if you live in the mountains, find a cave, a basement. My good buddy, NY Prepper, has a whole nuclear war survival series. I can't even scratch the surface of what he's done. There's 50 plus videos in there, all about how to survive nuclear war, and fantastically put together. And he just keeps adding to them. So check it out. If you want to know, you can nuclear war is survivable. It is survivable. You have to do it right. That's the big thing. You absolutely have to do it right.
Yeah.
Gotta have it.
Well, there's nuclear war is survivable, sure. It's the peace following it.
Yeah.
That's where it gets different, is your problem. Oh, they didn't nuke my city, fine. So, like, instead of, like, just getting blasted away and dying, instead I got to live 25 years in this wasteland suffering like a feral animal.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Nuclear war is no joke, you guys. And statistically, like, handful of us in this whole chat right here are going to survive it.
Yep. So, it's true. Sad, but true. Karen says, old government buildings or schools should have fallout shelters. They used to be required.
Yep.
Yes. They have been converted and decommissioned.
Bought by rich people.
They are, well, the ones in the schools and stuff aren't really bought by rich people, but you can bet your sweet bippy you go to kick the door in to go into that thing, and the door is not blast rated, and it's just packed with old books and shit that they don't use anymore.
That's where they keep the school,
it's storage. All of them have been converted to storage.
The school I went to in Hudson had, it was built into the side of a hill. And all the fallout shelters were stacked with like spare desks and books and storage. If the SHTF, ain't nobody getting in there. You literally couldn't fit.
Yeah, so that's the problem with everything here in the U.S.
Complacency.
And, you know, the other countries, Europe, Poland, London, all of these places are starting to restock all the bunkers. They're checking all the doors. They're making sure the air systems and the filtration systems are up and running. They are doing something for the people of their country to make sure that people can survive this. Here, you haven't heard a peep about it. They'll say it's unlikely that this could go there.
Well, it's just like healthcare. Like,
yeah,
if you can't afford it, you can't have it.
Exactly.
Which, so a thing about prepping, in a lot of these circles, Gucci gear gets thrown around, big trends go through the ranks and stuff. But the idea is like you can look to any person who has survived something as your inspiration for prepping. I mean, let's talk about the people like the homeless on the streets, people like this. You don't have to have military grade commercial killer gear. You just have to have the mindset that like, I ain't gonna die today. And you know, you have to have that will to go on. And something I talked about, I actually, I sent a text message to Just Josh the other night. I was hanging out on his live stream and listening to him, and everything he was saying was, you know, it's something that you and I have actually talked about, that you your whole life growing up, you felt like you were supposed to be doing something bigger, something more, some epic adventure. Now I want to know, like you're being called to do something greater than what you're actually doing. So I want to know from everybody in the chat, have you had that feeling that you're being, I don't know if I would say called, but pulled into something more than your life is supposed to be, that your life actually is now, that I should say. But that I want to know that from the chat. I know not everybody has that feeling. Not everybody I felt it since I was a child. Like I was supposed to go on some like Shakespearean, like King Arthur type of like adventure quest like thing. I don't know how to describe it, but like I know exactly what you mean. And
Robert says yes. Visual preparedness says yes. And I'm finding more and more that the people that I have met in the last, since Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival started, I would say 25% to 30% of them feel the exact same way. It's very, very interesting to me. Very, very interesting. Jay Creature says, I've already lived 3 lives. See, Briar Rose says it too. And
when you think
I'm not super religious. I'm not super duper religious, but there's definitely something almost magnetic about this particular feeling that people have had. And in most cases, it's your whole entire life, like you said, Livingston, man. From the time you were a child, even up until right now, you still feel the same way.
Like this isn't what it was all for. Like the thing that's going to come.
Yeah. Like your whole life has been a preparation of lessons and knowledge and things handed down to you that are going to get you through this, like a video game quest almost. Patty S says, not really, but there were quite a few times I could have died from one thing or another and didn't. There you go. Teresa Buchanan
hindsight
says,
being what it is. I mean, yeah, you get that too. Hindsight is counterproductive. Like looking back and be like, oh, good, I didn't die. Like, did you learn though? Like, is the real question.
Missouri Man says, it may have felt like a calling, but it was an ascension, part of the process. He's always been watching over the world, especially where his gardens once flourished. Interesting. Spiritual connection, says the Missouri Man. It's always right below your feet. Could be.
I was never sure what it meant, but I always felt like that, like everything, like the day to day and the grind and stuff was like a lead up to like a big finale, like sort of thing like that. It was.
Tracy Mickles says, because this is not our home. Ooh, that's a big one.
Well, in terms of prepping and survival in general, if like you're here, unless you're an electric bot like myself, you're alive and you survived this long.
Yeah.
But then like compound that with like your ancestors and think of how far you've come. If you're the type to believe in science, because you're alive today, you are related to like creatures that like were barely
came up out of the
humans.
mud, right?
If you're a religious type, you're related to like Adam and Eve.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you are alive today, like look all the way back, all of your ancestors also survived at least long enough to produce what became you all the way down the line.
Yeah.
So in the end, we are all survivors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we prepared enough to keep that going?
Well, I certainly hope so. And I hope you guys have been chomping at the bit and stacking the stuff when you can. I know things are getting expensive, but keep at it, guys. Keep at it. Mid-Georgia Preparedness is being pulled to prep and learn new skills. That's a good one. Betty Lou says she had her last right 60 years ago. Beat those odds, and you can do it again. Absolutely. Keep pushing, guys. Keep pushing. Never give up. Jay Creature, I like to watch the History Channel, but now I'm living it. You ain't kidding. Texas Surplus Pro, what's happening, my brother? How are you?
I was indeed getting a little tired of like every 2 weeks living through an unprecedented event. It was like, this is amping up like considerably here.
Does this live stream come with mushrooms? Am I the only one sober?
Jay Creature, we have been staring at computers. All right, let's bring you into our world here a little bit.
Yeah, we've been going down the rabbit
We're probably a little burnt out. We maybe look tired and
fuzzy. Of Operation Polar Eclipse. We're
living in character. Mike can even change his clothes, I don't think.
No.
Not his pants anyway, I would know.
No.
We've been really pushing with this production that we've been making on the side here that we're hoping will not only educate but entertain.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well as just for our own sake, just show off a lot of the skills that we have acquired along the way as far as this video.
Yeah. Wolfgang, welcome. Winning Streak, how are you?
Talking about how long we've been doing this. We all gonna die Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
6 months old tomorrow.
Ooh, baby, half a year.
Been doing it for
all
6
die Wednesdays.
months. You guys been watching that.
That's right.
So as we all sit here and watch each other on YouTube and have this community and stuff like this, I suggest we start living by our own rules.
Absolutely.
All start coming together, networking even better, get some in-person things going on.
Time.
Cross-channel collaborations.
Absolutely.
Anybody? And let's move it forward, folks, because by my concern, listen, I called that snowstorm in Buffalo a couple months ago.
Yeah,
it's going to be
it's true.
So here's my other prophecy is that like most people are going to move into the 15-minute cities. And it's going to be like us that don't. So I figure we all probably get to know each other now.
That's right, because I'm going to see y'all in the Wisha motherfucker woods. It's true. That's where I'll be.
At the 5-minute mark, let's put it to the chat. Give him a question. Ask him something.
Man, you put me on the spot. Now I don't know.
Well, you are the
now my mind
founder
is
and host.
Completely void of questions. Completely void of questions. Okay, so here's the thing. Rescue, what's happening, my brother? Welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. The question for the night to everybody in the chat. Let's see. The Prepared Irishman says, who dies first in Operation Polar Eclipse?
Well,
I think we're going to roll with that question. You guys are going to have to let me know who dies first in Operation Polar Eclipse.
It's not who you think.
Ooh, who is the first?
They honestly think we know.
I
do. They can't. It's kind of an unfair question, but okay.
Jonathan Camps, I wouldn't mind spending the apocalypse with you either, my friend. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight. Yes or no question? Which one of us is going first? Vision Preparedness is in for the cross-channel collaboration, my man. We will be talking. Do you think? I mean, so far there's only 2 people in Operation Polar Eclipse. You and I.
I mean, honestly, the honest answer.
So you got a 50-50 chance of getting it right so far.
You have a 50% chance of being correct and saying that like everyone but us did because there's no one else.
William K says, and I can hunt better than Mike. Welcome to the camp, my friend. Welcome to the camp. If those pesky laws and regulations didn't get in the way, I would have sacked so many deer this year.
Who stopped you?
The laws, my ethics.
So you had the deer in the crosshair, and the law stepped in front of you and was like, "Don't shoot."
Yeah. Well, I was trying to, teach my son proper ethical hunting. Don't take bad shots, things like that.
Does that matter?
Virginia Bushcrafter says cross channel. My man. Send me an email. Hudson Valley Prepping Survival @gmail.com. No and. Hudson Valley Prepping Survival.
Let's set it on fire. 3-minute mark. Okay. In a SHTF situation, okay, right. Laws, we are indeed going to have to break ourselves of that nonsense.
Absolutely. You can't Just Josh deer. The other night.
You can't hunt deer with a rimfire cartridge. Watch me.
Some people came out on Just Josh's stream the other night, and we're calling him a marauder because he said that if he had a group, he would do anything to provide for his group. And that may put him in the marauder mentality. Eventually, no matter how much stuff you have, if you have enough people, you're going to run out of supplies, right?
You'll have to forage and keep moving.
Yeah. You're going to, well, I wouldn't say forage. It's more
scavenge.
Yes, scavenging. And potentially having to take from others, right?
Until you're ready to settle down and form some sort of pastoral agricultural community.
And a lot of people came at him because he said that he would take from others to provide for his group. Now, eventually that time's going to come. And I think a lot of people sit on their high horse and say, I am not going to be that person.
They put their moral compass on others, though.
Correct.
They think that nobody else would do that because they won't.
It's true.
Until they get robbed for all their shit.
Exactly.
And that's the end of it.
So, there's 2 sides to this coin.
Some of our morals and what we are, of course we know that what is legal is not always right and what is right is not always legal. Those questions are going to really come into the forefront morally in an SHTF situation. Like, is this legal is probably going to be the least of your worries, although the best laws, if there are any, are based in morals.
Correct.
So here's where the folks will say, well, look to the Bible. Okay, but
Right.
I can do that, sure. But if my enemy, my opponent, my adversary does not, then that doesn't help me. There's going to be a whole stoop to their level mentality.
Yes.
Whether you want to admit it or not. We're all upstanding good people until it comes time to eat 3 men. And let me tell you, I survived and they didn't. So.
Yeah, it's, oh man, that's a rough one. That's a rough one. Yardbird says, law of the jungle. Unfortunately, like Mid-Georgia Preparedness said, at one point we'll be marauders or you'll die.
You're going to have to make tough choices that you're not going to be happy with because the apocalypse is not going to be
fun. I definitely envision things going kind of Walking Dead style where you're breaking down those smaller societies and communities and groups.
Name one situation where like a bunch of like feces hit an air circulation machine
and you didn't get covered in it,
and it was a fun good time that you like were like, I'm glad that happened.
That's right.
And that's what we're talking about here, because it's all fun here until it really happens, and these games are not fun. Practice up, prep up now so that you've done it before when it really happens, because if you don't do that, your time is going to be so much worse.
That's
because
right.
nobody is going to be having a good time except Outlaw Jackson, because he's here for the food.
Sad but true. If you guys are still hanging out, if you're enjoying yourself, smash that like button for us. We're not going to take up your whole entire night, but check out Just Josh. Got to check out my man Just Josh. He has a fantastic channel. Vision Preparedness, another great channel you want to check out. My Mother's Spark. Everybody who stopped by here tonight, you know, if you click on their icon and they have a channel, go to it, subscribe, send them some love. Share the love, guys, because times are getting crazy and we could all use a little extra love. That's for sure. Any last words, Livingston man, before we get out of here for the night?
To address Prepper Book Club, I don't even need oil. I have sealed joints with ball bearings. Actually, East German issue. I was built in the 80s. I'm made of good stuff. I don't need a lot of maintenance whatsoever.
Billy Ann Cruz, I absolutely agree with you. So that's the other side of the coin is be prepared to defend what you have, and take that little bit with you tonight. And tomorrow we will see y'all on the We All Gonna Die Wednesday.
6-month edition, baby.
That's right. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank y'all for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Prep up, guys. Prep up. Totalitarian Tuesday has come to a close. Take your conspiracy theories and go on get. Guys, have a great night. Thank you so much for stopping by. We will catch y'all tomorrow.